Have you ever felt fundamentally flawed, as if a crack runs through the very core of your being? Have you ever felt fundamentally flawed, as if a crack runs through the very core of your being, making you feel less than whole, less than worthy? We live in a world that worships perfection. But what if I told you that your greatest perceived weakness is actually the hidden source of your most profound strength? Today, we journey to a small, timeless village to uncover a story that promises to mend the way you see yourself. That promises to mend the way you see yourself. A tale about two pots and the quiet wisdom that changed everything. In a secluded hamlet, cradled by gentle rolling hills, there lived a farmer suitable for audiobooks to simplicity and purpose. His hands were calloused from labor, yet his heart remained soft and understanding. Each morning, long before the sun had a chance to kiss the sky, he would embark on a long pilgrimage to a distant well to fetch the day's drinking water. For this essential task, he relied on two large clay pots. For this essential task, he relied on two large clay pots. These he would suspend from either end of a sturdy wooden pole, which he balanced across his broad, weathered shoulders. One of these vessels was the very picture of perfection. Its form was flawless, its surface smooth, without a single blemish. It performed its duty with stoic efficiency, never permitting a single drop of water to escape its hold. The reading should never permit a single drop of water to escape its hold. The other pot, however, was its complete opposite. It bore a visible fracture, a small crack running down its side. This imperfection meant that with every step the farmer took, a slow, steady trickle of water would leak out. And by the time their journey concluded, half of its contents would be lost to the dusty path. The perfect pot was consumed by an unyielding pride. The perfect pot was consumed by an unyielding pride. It viewed its companion with a cold, silent contempt. "I am flawless," it would muse to itself, "a monument to utility. I execute my function perfectly. Every precious drop of water reaches its destination because of my integrity." Its pride soon festered into open scorn. One morning, as they swayed in rhythm, with the farmer's steady gait, the perfect pot directed its voice, sharp and mocking, at its companion. "Just look at you! You are an exercise in futility. Half your water is gone before our master even sees his home. Why does he even trouble himself with carrying you? You are nothing more than a pointless burden. Why does he even trouble himself with carrying you? You are nothing more than a pointless burden." The cracked pot offered no reply. It remained silent, absorbing the painful words, as the dry earth absorbs the rain. But these taunts were like thorns, embedding themselves deeper into its heart with each passing day. The cruel ritual repeated itself daily. The perfect pot would jeer, its voice dripping with arrogance, while the cracked pot would retreat further into its shell of quiet suffering. All the while, the kind farmer continued his long walk, completely oblivious to the silent drama and the profound pain his little vessel was enduring. Gradually, insidiously, the cracked pot began to internalize the venom it heard. Gradually, insidiously, the cracked pot began to internalize the venom it heard. The constant criticism became its own inner voice. It started to genuinely believe it was worthless. The constant criticism became its own inner voice. It started to genuinely believe it was worthless. Then, one day, the accumulated weight of its shame became too heavy to bear. As they traversed the familiar dusty trail under the gentle morning sun, tears began to stream down its clay side, mingling with the water that perpetually escaped from its flaw. Finally, it could hold its sorrow no longer. In a trembling voice, saturated with despair, it whispered to the farmer, "Master, I am so deeply sorry. Please, find it in your heart to forgive me. Please, find it in your heart to forgive me." The farmer, taken aback to hear the pot speak, turned his gaze upon it. His eyes filled with a gentle curiosity. "Why are you weeping, my dear friend?" he inquired softly. "What great trouble weighs so heavily upon your heart?" He inquired softly. "What great trouble weighs so heavily upon your heart?" The cracked pot's voice was fractured with shame. "Because I am useless, master. This crack in my side defines me. Every single day I lose half of the precious water. You labor so hard to collect. You rise before the dawn, you walk an immense distance. You carry such a burdensome load, and because of me, half of your monumental effort is utterly wasted. Yet you have never once scolded me. You have never cast me aside. I am drowning in my own shame. I am a burden upon you. I am drowning in my own shame. I am a burden upon you. Please, forgive me for being so broken, so worthless." The farmer listened with a serene patience, his expression a calm sea of kindness. When the pot had poured out its heart, he offered a gentle, reassuring smile. "Oh, my dear friend, is that the source of your sadness? Is this the pain you have carried in silence for so long? Do not worry. Tomorrow I will show you something magnificent. After you see it, I promise you, you will never feel useless again." The cracked pot couldn't fathom the farmer's meaning, but the warmth in his voice was... The cracked pot couldn't fathom the farmer's meaning, but the warmth in his voice was a single ray of hope piercing through its dark clouds of despair. The following day, as was their custom, the farmer carried both pots to the well. The following day, as was their custom, the farmer carried both pots to the well. The morning air was crisp and invigorating, filled with the melodies of birdsong. The morning air was crisp and invigorating, filled with the melodies of birdsong. And the earthy scent of damp soil carried on a gentle breeze. On their return journey, the farmer spoke softly. "Today, I want both of you to look very carefully at the sides of our path. Gaze down and observe what grows there." Both pots lowered their focus. The cracked pot let out an audible gasp of pure astonishment. The cracked pot let out an audible gasp of pure astonishment. All along its side of the path, a breathtaking tapestry of beautiful flowers was in full bloom. They swayed gracefully in the morning wind, their petals shimmering with fresh dew. They swayed gracefully in the morning wind, their petals shimmering with fresh dew. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, the cracked pot was lifted from its sadness. "How beautiful," it whispered, lost in wonder. "How absolutely, impossibly beautiful." The perfect pot also looked, but its side of the path was starkly different, nothing but dry, barren earth and a scattering of stones. And for the very first time, the perfect pot felt an unfamiliar sensation stirring within its core. The perfect pot felt an unfamiliar sensation stirring within its core. Was it confusion, or was it something akin to envy? Upon reaching home, the farmer set them down with his usual care. The farmer set them down with his usual care. The cracked pot looked at itself, saw that it was once again half empty, and its fleeting happiness evaporated. It whispered sorrowfully, "Master, even after witnessing such beauty, I have still failed you. I could not bring you a full measure of water. I am still broken." The farmer sat beside them, his smile as warm as sunlight. The farmer sat beside them, his smile as warm as sunlight. "No, my little friend," he said gently. "You do not yet see the full picture. Tell me, did you not notice something special about those flowers?" The cracked pot pondered for a moment. They were the most beautiful flowers I have ever laid eyes on, master. "Yes," said the farmer. "But where were they growing? On which side of our path?" But where were they growing? On which side of our path? The cracked pot blinked. They were on my side, master. Only on my side." "Exactly," the farmer affirmed, his eyes twinkling with joy. "Now, tell me, why do you suppose they grew only on your side? Now tell me, why do you suppose they grew only on your side, and not on the side of the perfect pot?" The cracked pot was speechless. The perfect pot, too, listened with rapt attention, its formidable pride beginning to show the faintest of cracks. The farmer's voice was now imbued with love. "Because I have always known about your crack, my friend. I knew from the very beginning, and so, many months ago, I planted flower seeds all along your side of this path. Every single day," the farmer continued, as we walked back from the well, "you were watering those seeds, all without even realizing it. Drop by drop, the water that you saw as a failure fell upon the soil. It was the gift of life. It nourished the seeds. It helped them grow into the vibrant spectacle you see today. Because of you, this entire road is now a garden. Their beauty fills my heart with joy on my morning walk. Their fragrance welcomes me home in the evening. Travelers pause to admire them. Children laugh and play among them. All of this beauty, all of this joy. It all exists because of you and because of your crack." Tears flowed from the cracked pot once more, but these were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of profound joy and overwhelming relief. For the first time, it felt valuable, it felt special, it felt loved. But then an unexpected voice emerged. The perfect pot, silent until now, finally spoke. Its voice was stripped of all pride, soft and heavy with shame. Its voice was stripped of all pride, soft and heavy with shame. "Master," it said quietly, I have something I must say." The farmer regarded it with the same unwavering kindness. The farmer regarded it with the same unwavering kindness. "Yes, my friend, speak your heart freely." The perfect pot's voice trembled. "I am deeply ashamed. All this time I ridiculed the cracked pot. I called it useless, a burden. I believed myself superior because I am perfect, because I never lose a drop. But now I see the truth. While I was consumed with my own perfection, my friend was creating a world of beauty I could never hope to match. I was blind to the purpose hidden within what I saw as a flaw. Turning to the cracked pot, It spoke with genuine remorse.
My dear friend, please forgive me. My words were cruel.
I judged you when I had no right. I am truly sorry.
You are not useless. You are wonderful. Will you forgive me?
The cracked pot, its heart now overflowing with compassion, replied softly, "Of course, I forgive you." We all have lessons to learn. What is important is that we grow from them. What is important is that we grow from them. The farmer smiled warmly, pleased by this transformation. He placed his hands on both pots and spoke words of timeless wisdom. My dear friends, listen closely. Nobody in this world is perfect. We all possess our unique strengths and our inherent weaknesses. That is the beautiful, complex nature of life. He looked at the perfect pot. You are excellent at transporting water without spilling. He looked at the perfect pot. You are excellent at transporting water without spilling. That is your gift, and it is invaluable. Because of you, my family has clean water to drink and cook with. You fulfill your purpose flawlessly. Then he turned to the cracked pot. And you, my friend, you have a different, but equally vital gift. Your crack allows you to nurture the flowers. Because of you, beauty blossoms where there was once only dust. Both of you are perfect in your own way. Both of you are necessary. For my life to be whole, I need one to sustain my home, and one to sustain my soul. Together, you make my life complete. They both understood. Pride and shame dissolved, replaced by mutual respect. From that day on, they traveled together, not as rivals, but as companions. From that day on, they traveled together, not as rivals, but as companions. One brought sustenance to the home, the other brought beauty to the world. Both were needed. Both were loved. Both were loved. This story is a mirror. We are all, in some way, both of these pots. We have strengths that we must use with humility, and we have cracks that we may feel ashamed of. But those cracks, our imperfections, are often what allow us to connect, to create. But those cracks, our imperfections, are often what allow us to connect, to create, to bring unexpected beauty into the world. It is not about being perfect. It is about being authentic and using everything we are to make a positive mark. In which pot did you see yourself today? Please share your own story in the comments below. Your journey and your unique cracks might just be the inspiration someone else needs to see their own value. If this message touched your heart, show your support with a like. And share this video with anyone who might be feeling a little broken. And please, subscribe to our channel for more stories that aim to heal and inspire. Until next time, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and never forget that your cracks are where the flowers grow. And what of the cracks we try to hide? The ones we plaster over, hoping no one will ever see the parts of us that don't quite fit the mold. We fear that our odd angles and rough edges make us lesser, that our differences are defects. But let me take you now to a kingdom of stone and sky, to a story that challenges the very idea of perfection and reveals that the one thing, to a story that challenges the very idea of perfection and reveals that the one thing you believe is your greatest flaw might just be the very thing that was designed to save you. In a land renowned for its unparalleled architectural wonders, there stood a great wall. It was not just a wall. It was a statement, a breathtaking testament to human precision and unwavering will. It stretched for miles, its top a perfect, unbroken line against the horizon, a symbol of the kingdom's strength and order. It was constructed by a legendary master stonemason whose name was whispered with a mixture of reverence and awe. He demanded flawlessness, and this wall was his magnum opus. Every single stone, quarried from the same mountain, was a perfect gray rectangle, suitable for audiobooks, cut with geometric exactitude. Their faces were smooth, almost soft to the touch, and they fit together so seamlessly that one could barely slip a blade of grass between them. It was a symphony of uniformity, a monument to the beauty of conformity. It was a symphony of uniformity, a monument to the beauty of conformity. But in the very center of this grand expanse, at a height that met the eyes of all who passed, there was one stone that shattered the pattern. It was the odd stone. It was not a perfect rectangle. Instead, it was an irregular pentagon, a maverick of geology wedged into a space that seemed to cry out for symmetry. Its color was a defiant swirl of mossy green and milky quartz, a stark contrast to the placid gray of its neighbors. And milky quartz, a stark contrast to the placid gray of its neighbors. Its surface was not smooth but rugged, cross-hatched with tiny lines and grooves, as if it held the memory of a more chaotic time. For centuries, the odd stone sat in its place, enduring the silent judgment of the world. It felt the sun glint off the polished surfaces of the other stones, making them gleam with pride, while its own rough texture seemed to only absorb the light, leaving it in a perpetual state of shadow. It listened to the wind as it whispered over the wall, carrying what sounded like a collective hum of contentment from the other stones. "We are the wall," they seemed to murmur in their silent, stony language. "We are strength. We are order. We are perfection." The odd stone felt a deep, chilling shame that seeped into its very core. "I am a mistake," it would think, as the seasons turned. "I am a scar on the face of perfection. The master must have erred. Or perhaps a clumsy apprentice placed me here by accident. I disrupt the harmony. I am the single sour note in a beautiful melody." It longed, with a profound and aching desire, to be like the others. To be smooth, to be gray, to be predictable. It saw itself as a blemish, a constant public reminder of imperfection in a world that celebrated the flawless. Then came the storm. It was not a gentle spring rain or a blustering autumn wind. This was a tempest, a fury unleashed from the heavens, the likes of which the kingdom This was a tempest, a fury unleashed from the heavens, the likes of which the kingdom had not seen in 100 years. The wind was a roaring beast, tearing at the trees and clawing at the rooftops. The rain fell not in drops, but in solid, punishing sheets, driven sideways with such force that it felt like 1,000 tiny hammers striking the wall. The very foundations of the earth seemed to tremble. The very foundations of the earth seemed to tremble. The perfect stones, in their neat, orderly rows, stood rigid and proud against the onslaught. The perfect stones, in their neat, orderly rows, stood rigid and proud against the onslaught. But their very perfection, their absolute lack of give, became their greatest vulnerability.
But their very perfection, their absolute lack of give, became their greatest vulnerability. The immense pressure of the storm began to build, seeking a release. A great groaning sound echoed across the fields, a sound of stone under an unbearable strain. A great groaning sound echoed across the fields, a sound of stone under an unbearable strain. A hairline fracture appeared near the top of the wall, spreading downwards like a bolt of dark lightning. The perfect stones, with no way to shift or redistribute the stress, began to push against each other with crushing force. The wall was about to break. But where the odd stone was lodged, something miraculous was happening. The wind and the rain hammered against it, but its unique nature responded. The wind and the rain hammered against it, but its unique nature responded. In a way, the others could not. Its unconventional angles, once a source of shame, now became anchors. The force of the storm, instead of focusing on a single point of weakness, was distributed along its 5 different sides, dissipated into the surrounding structure. Its rough surface, once a point of ridicule, now provided 1,000 tiny points of friction, an unbreakable grip on the mortar and its neighbors. While the smooth stones threatened to slide under the pressure, the odd stone held fast. A linchpin of stability. It was the single point of resilience in a sea of rigid brittleness. The storm raged for a full day and night, and through it all, the odd stone endured. The storm raged for a full day and night, and through it all, the odd stone endured, holding the masterpiece together. The sun finally rose on a battered but miraculously unbroken kingdom. The master stonemason, now an old man with eyes as wise and gray as the stone he loved, came to inspect his life's work. His heart ached as he saw the evidence of the storm's fury. He walked the length of the wall, his gnarled fingers tracing the lines of immense stress that marred its surface. His eyes followed the path of the great fracture, and they came to rest on the odd stone. He stopped. His apprentices held their breath, expecting a curse, an order to have the offending stone removed and replaced. Expecting a curse, an order to have the offending stone removed and replaced. But the old man did not scowl. A slow, knowing smile spread across his weathered face. He reached out and laid his hand upon the stone's rough, green-veined surface, not with disdain, but with a deep and profound reverence. But with a deep and profound reverence. He turned to his youngest apprentice, who was looking at the stone with confusion. "Do you see this stone, my boy?" the master asked, his voice raspy but clear. "All your life you have heard the stories. You believed, as everyone does, that its inclusion was a mistake, a flaw in my great design." The apprentice nodded silently. A wall made of only perfect, identical things. The apprentice nodded silently. A wall made of only perfect, identical things. "Is a beautiful but brittle wall," the stonemason continued, his voice gaining strength. "It has no heart, no capacity to endure the unexpected. Its uniformity is its hidden weakness. It will stand against any predictable force, but it will shatter when chaos comes." I searched for months to find this specific stone. I needed one that defied the square and the rule. I needed a stone that knew how to hold on when everything else was designed to stand in perfect, proud isolation. This stone, with its strange shape and its rough skin, is the secret heart of this wall. It was not an accident. It was chosen. It was placed here for this very moment. Its entire purpose was not to fit in, but to be different. Its purpose was to hold us all together when perfection failed. The odd stone, feeling the warmth of the master's hand and hearing his words, felt a sensation it had never known. A deep, resonant hum vibrated through its core. A feeling not of shame, but of profound, undeniable purpose. The whispers of the wind now sounded different, no longer a judgment, but a song of praise. The sunlight fell upon its rugged surface, and for the first time, it didn't feel like it was hiding in shadow. It felt like it was being illuminated. It was not a flaw. It was a feature. It was not a mistake. It was the keystone. It was the masterpiece within the masterpiece, its value hidden in plain sight. The reading should be masterpiece, its value hidden in plain sight, waiting for the one moment of crisis that would reveal its true, indispensable strength. The greatest beauty, it now understood, was not in being the same as everyone else, but in being exactly, uniquely, and purposefully what you were created to be. Its difference was not its weakness, it was its very definition of strength. The quiet, unassuming hero of the Great Wall. The quiet, unassuming hero of the Great Wall. For so many of us, life can feel like we are that one odd stone. We look at the world around us and see smooth, polished surfaces. We look at the world around us and see smooth, polished surfaces. People who seem to fit in so effortlessly. We see their successes. People who seem to fit in so effortlessly. We see their successes, their seemingly perfect lives, and we look at our own rough edges, our own strange angles, our anxieties, our insecurities, our unconventional dreams. And we feel like a mistake. We spend so much energy trying to chip away at our own uniqueness, trying to become a perfect, predictable rectangle, believing that our happiness lies in conformity. We internalize the perceived judgment of the world, and we begin to believe we are a blemish, a burden, a flaw in the grand design. But what if, like the odd stone, your perceived flaws are actually your most essential strengths, waiting for the right storm to be revealed? What if your sensitivity, which you see as a weakness, is actually the source? What if your sensitivity, which you see as a weakness, is actually the source of your incredible empathy and creativity? What if your stubbornness, which you've been told is a flaw, is actually the deep well of resilience that will see you through life's greatest challenges? What if your quirky, unusual interests, the things that make you feel different, are the very things that will allow you to connect with others on a level that conformity could never reach? The truth is, a world of perfect, identical stones would not only be boring, it would be incredibly fragile. It is the diversity, the uniqueness, the odd angles, and the rough textures that give our world its resilience, its beauty, and its strength. And the rough textures that give our world its resilience, its beauty, and its strength. Your so-called imperfections are not accidents. They are vital components of your design. They are the source of your character, the anchors of your soul. They are the source of your character, the anchors of your soul. They are what allow you to absorb the pressures of life in a way that someone with a polished, untested surface simply cannot. Stop seeing yourself as a mistake in the wall. Start to understand that you may very well be its secret heart.
The master craftsman of the universe made no error when he created you. Every groove, every strange color, every unconventional edge was put there with purpose. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are a solution waiting for a problem. You are a strength waiting for a test. So today, I invite you to look at your own reflection and find your inner odd stone. Embrace it, honor it, stop apologizing for it. For when the storms of life inevitably come and the walls of perfection begin to crack and tremble, the world will not be saved by the ones who fit in. It will be saved by the ones who were brave enough to be different. It will be saved by you. By the ones who were brave enough to be different. It will be saved by you. And in that moment, you will not just feel worthy, you will understand that you have been essential all along. What part of you have you been hiding, believing it to be a flaw? What part of you have you been hiding, believing it to be a flaw? Take a moment to reconsider it, to see it not as a weakness, but as a unique strength in disguise. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your story of embracing your inner oddstone might just be the permission someone else needs to finally love their own. Suitable for audiobooks, commercial voiceovers. The reading speed should be 1.3 times the normal speed. Might just be the permission someone else needs to finally love their own. This journey of self-acceptance is one we walk together. If this story resonated with you, please show your support with a like and share it with anyone. If this story resonated with you, please show your support with a like and share it with anyone who might be feeling out of place in this world. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Join our community as we continue to explore the profound truth that our greatest value often lies. Join our community as we continue to explore the profound truth that our greatest value often lies right where we least expect it. We will be back soon with the final part of our series. Another story to guide you on your path. Until then, remember the lesson of the wall. Be proud of your unique shape. Know that you are not a mistake. You are a masterpiece. But what of the flaws that are not static, like a crack in a pot or the shape of a stone? What about the imperfections woven into the very fabric of our being, the ones that affect how we move, how we learn, how we simply exist in the world? We are not inanimate objects. How we learn, how we simply exist in the world. We are not inanimate objects. We are living, breathing creatures designed for flight. We are living, breathing creatures designed for flight. And when our wings feel broken, it can feel like the cruelest joke of all. Let us journey now for one final story to a forest canopy bathed in golden light. Let us journey now for one final story to a forest canopy bathed in golden light, to meet a creature whose entire existence was defined by a struggle to fly. In the heart of an ancient, sprawling forest lived a flock of sparrows. They were the epitome of avian grace. Their flight was a dance, a symphony of synchronized movement. They would launch from the branches as one, their wings beating in perfect rhythm, painting effortless lines and arcs against the vast blue canvas of the sky. Their wings beating in perfect rhythm, painting effortless lines and arcs against the vast blue canvas of the sky. To them, flight was not just a means of travel. It was their identity, their art, their proof of worth. And within this flock, there was one small bird who was a constant, painful exception. His name was Pip.
From the day he first tumbled from his nest, it was clear he was different. One of his wings was ever so slightly shorter than the other, a tiny, almost imperceptible imbalance. But in the world of flight, a tiny imbalance changes everything. When the other sparrows soared, Pip wobbled. When they flew in a straight, determined line, Pip would inevitably drift into a wide, looping spiral. His every journey was a corkscrew through the air. The others were not kind. "Look at Pip, the spinning top," one would chirp. "He can't even fly from one branch to another without getting dizzy," another would mock. Their laughter was a constant chorus that followed him through the sky. Pip felt a shame so profound it felt heavier than his own body. He would watch the others, their perfect, streamlined forms, and his heart would ache. With a desperate longing to be normal, he spent countless hours in secret trying to correct his flight. He would flap his shorter wing with furious intensity, straining every muscle, trying to force his body into a straight line. But his efforts were always in vain. He would only end up exhausted, tumbling through the air and landing clumsily in the undergrowth. His shame burning hotter than ever. He was a bird who could not fly properly. In his own eyes, and in the eyes of his flock, he was a failure. In his own eyes, and in the eyes of his flock, he was a failure. One crisp autumn afternoon, as the flock foraged for seeds in a sun-dappled clearing, a shadow fell over them. It was swift and sudden, a chilling eclipse that blotted out the sun. Every bird froze. High above, circling with lethal patience, was a hawk. Its eyes were like chips of obsidian, and its focus was absolute. Its eyes were like chips of obsidian, and its focus was absolute. With a piercing shriek, it folded its wings and began its dive. With a piercing shriek, it folded its wings and began its dive. Panic erupted. The flock exploded into the air, scattering in 100 different directions. Their strategy was simple: fly straight, fly fast, and hope you weren't the one the hawk chose. But the hawk was a master of the straight line. Its dive was a plummet of pure speed. But the hawk was a master of the straight line. Its dive was a plummet of pure speed and precision. It locked onto a sparrow flying a predictable, panicked course. And in a blur of feathers, the chase was over. Pip, too, had launched himself into the air, his heart hammering against his ribs. Terror seized him, and he did the only thing his body knew how to do. He flew. He flapped his wings with all his might, and his lopsided body immediately pulled him into his familiar spiraling ascent. He wasn't trying to be evasive, he was just flying. The hawk, having dispatched its first victim, turned its deadly gaze and saw what looked like an easy, wounded target. It adjusted its course and dove again, aiming for the clumsy, spinning sparrow. But something strange happened. The hawk, built for linear speed, found itself completely baffled by Pip's trajectory. It calculated the intercept point, but by the time it got there, Pip's constant circling flight had already moved him to a new, unpredictable position. The hawk shot past him, the wind from its wings rustling Pip's feathers. Frustrated, the predator pulled up, banking sharply, and dove again. And again, Pip's corkscrew path made him an impossible target. It was like trying to catch smoke. While his flockmates were being hunted down on their straight, predictable paths of escape, Pip, in his flawed, wobbly flight, was untouchable. The hawk, enraged and confused by this spinning, untouchable morsel, shrieked in frustration and abandoned the chase, soaring away to find less perplexing prey. And abandoned the chase, soaring away to find less perplexing prey. Pip, trembling and out of breath, finally landed on a high branch. The clearing below was quiet. The surviving members of his flock began to emerge. The clearing below was quiet. The surviving members of his flock began to emerge. From their hiding places, their eyes wide with disbelief. They had all seen it. They had seen the hawk, the most fearsome hunter in the sky. Utterly defeated, not by speed, not by strength, but by a wobble. From that day forward, no one ever laughed at Pip's flight again. They looked at his looping spirals, not with scorn, but with a newfound awe and respect. They began to understand that what they had perceived as a flaw, a clumsy mistake, was in fact a brilliant, life-saving defense. Pip's inability to fly straight was the very thing that had saved him. His unique, imperfect motion was his superpower. And so, we arrive at the heart of it all. And so, we arrive at the heart of it all. We have walked with the cracked pot and seen how its flaw nurtured a garden of beauty. We have stood before the odd stone and learned how its difference provided unshakable strength. And we have flown with the lopsided bird, discovering that its unique struggle was its greatest salvation. These are not just stories. They are reflections of a profound and beautiful truth. Your perceived weaknesses, the things you try to hide or fix, are not your shame. Your perceived weaknesses, the things you try to hide or fix, are not your shame. They are your signature. They are the unique, unrepeatable aspects of your design that hold a purpose you may not yet understand. The world may praise the straight line, the perfect form, the flawless performance. The world may praise the straight line, the perfect form, the flawless performance. But it is in the cracks, the odd angles, and the wobbles that true resilience, true beauty, and true character are born. Stop fighting against the current of your own being. Stop apologizing for the way you are built. Look at your cracks and ask what they might be able to water. Look at your cracks and ask what they might be able to water. Look at your strange angles and ask what they might be able to hold together. Look at your strange angles and ask what they might be able to hold together. Look at your wobbly flight and ask what dangers it might help you evade. Your journey is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming so unapologetically yourself that your very existence becomes a masterpiece of authenticity. The reading should be 1.3 times the normal speed. That your very existence becomes a masterpiece of authenticity. Thank you for joining us on this journey through these 3 stories. If they have helped you see yourself in a new, more compassionate light, please let us know in the comments. Your story matters, and your voice is a vital part of this community. Please let us know in the comments. Your story matters, and your voice is a vital part of this community. Share this series with anyone who needs to hear that they are not broken but beautiful. And please, subscribe for more content that celebrates the strength in our shared humanity. Until we meet again, remember this: you were not made to be flawless. You were made to be whole. And your wholeness includes every beautiful, purposeful crack. You were made to be whole, and your wholeness includes every beautiful, purposeful crack.